Jeremy, speaking of big chungus, tell me about Nintendo Switch Sports.
I don't know what Big Chungus has to do with it. I played Nintendo Switch Sports. I didn't think I was going to buy it, and I didn't buy it. But my housemate did, which was great. I came home the other day to find a Switch game sitting on the counter, and I was like,
"Oh, is this for me?"
Well, it would come as no surprise to tell you that I have the most games in the house. And frequently my housemates borrow my games, and I told them you don't even have to ask. Feel free literally just to go borrow it. I don't care at all. As long as you put it back, I don't care. And I saw a game sitting on the counter. I was like, oh, that's weird. So I look at it and I'm like, oh, Nintendo Switch Sports. And then my housemate came in and was like, oh yeah, I picked it up. I want to play it. And I was like, okay, cool. I wasn't planning on buying it, so I'm glad you did, so we can play it. And so I have been playing the Nintendo Switch Sports.
Oh, it's the visual gag. It's back.
Every week. Every week there'll be another one.
For audio listeners, Jeremy has put his head uponst the body of a me.
It's very weird.
M-I-I, not me.
Yes. So Nintendo Switch Sports is kind of weird. So it is definitely not Wii Sports, but it kind of is, and it's hitting this really weird, uncomfortable middle ground of trying to do like a new sports game for like it's in HD. It looks quite good for the most part. There's like a lot of environments and stuff, unlike Wii Sports, which was pretty basic. It was a Wii launch game, right? They didn't quite know what they were doing yet. So Wii Sports was very much a really fun tech demo. It was like, hey, look at all these cool things you can do with the fucking Wiimote, right?
Maybe one of the best pack-ins ever.
Maybe the best.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe the best. This has a lot of the same stuff, as well as some things from the Wii Sports Resort game that came out. But it's also missing some things. There's no boxing, there's no baseball, there's no golf yet. That's coming. There is tennis. So the sports that are in Wii Sports, the sports that are in Nintendo Switch Sports: volleyball, badminton, tennis, football, soccer, chambara, and bowling.
Mm-hmm.
Now, bowling and tennis are the ones that are very, very close to the original Wii Sports games. Bowling, however, has two modes. There is regular mode and there is like extreme mode or something. I don't remember exactly what it's called. Where there are obstacles being put in the middle of the alley, or like moving platforms, or like pin bumpers that it's quite fun. It's quite a good addition, but it also makes it really difficult because
it's like mini bowling.
Yes. What's really weird about it is the controls are different to Wii Sports Bowling, but only slightly. And it's the only major difference is in Wii Sports, you hold down the B button and you bowl, and then you let go when you want to let go of the ball, right? In this, you hold it the entire time, and it sort of auto lets go for you.
Which isn't particularly like
it's not particularly
bowling-like.
No, it's not. And it's also not particularly different, aside from if you have played Wii Bowling a lot, like I have, it was very difficult to break out of that like habit to like just let go of the button. And so if you let go of the button, the bowl fails. And you like have to do it again, which is very, very weird.
And it does that thing like bonk.
Yes. What is good, however, maybe the most amazing addition that they have ever done is adding simultaneous bowling to this game. So if you are playing, the Wii Bowling, Switch Bowling has, I think, 1 to 16 players.
Yep.
And you just take turns by passing the controller. If you have 2 controllers, which you do because it's a Switch, you can bowl, 2 people can bowl at the same time, which is great if you're doing what I did, which was play with 4 people, including myself. So it was 2 people. And
so you're not all waiting for everyone to go around.
Exactly. Amazing addition.
Yep.
Chambara is 1 to 2 players, same with football and same with badminton. I played all these games aside from football because we couldn't be bothered setting up the leg strap. That's the only one that requires the ring fit leg strap, and we just couldn't be fucked.
I'd also like to just point out, Chambara, for those who aren't aware, it's basically the sword fighting game from Wii Sports Resort.
Yes.
Where you're trying to slash your opponent for the direction that they're not blocking.
Yes. However, I will say that it has the addition of you can choose what sword you want, including twin swords. And so you hold both Joy-Cons, and it's got really pretty good tracking.
Okay, great.
It's really fun to sort of like block with one and then unblock and then whack with the other and then whack with the other. And it's really hard to block when there's two swords.
Yeah.
The control scheme is very similar to the Skyward Sword Zelda game that came out on Switch. Like very, very similar. It is like, attack in the direction that they are blocking. So like, as opposed to the opposite direction, it is move the controls left and right to do a spinning attack when you build up your meter.
Yep, that's funny.
It's the exact same thing almost. Apart
well,
from
I mean, think about it. It's basically the same game from Wii Sports Resort, which was a big Wii Motion Plus like showpiece, just like Skyward Sword was on the Wii 10 years ago. So that's
it makes complete sense. Makes complete sense. Chambara is pretty good. We played a bunch of that. The tennis is it's what you'd expect. It is Wii Sports tennis. It is a lot more. There's a lot more of a direction. You can get a pretty good idea of where you're going to hit the ball as you hit it. You can sort of aim it, just by the nature of it being a much better motion controller, which is really cool. Badminton is very similar to tennis, aside from it's not 4-player like tennis, it's only 2-player. I don't know why, but it is, because you still only use one controller. I guess maybe, is it doubles badminton? I don't know.
I think there is, but I wonder if that would be strange with like who goes forward and back. Because in tennis, they have that where it's like one's forward, one's back, and then that very rarely changes. But I think badminton's a bit more dynamic.
We'll get there, but volleyball does the same thing where like people will go back and forth, I believe.
I was watching footage. Isn't that where it's like set, like your role is determined by who's hitting the ball when, and they're like, "Oh, get ready, you're going to bump it now. Get ready, you're going to strike it now." Yeah,
but I feel like the games can be intelligent enough that a player can automatically move front and back and swap. I don't know. It just felt weird that like they limited that game to 2 players because they couldn't move players. I don't know. It was very similar to tennis. Aside from it was maybe just like a little bit more boring, I guess. There's like you can't do rallies as much in that one because of the ball builds up so much speed, and it's more about timing in that one than it is about placement. Which means that sometimes you can like really whack it down, and then like you got to really like time that right. And then finally volleyball, 1 to 4 players. That one is different. That one is like, so it is volleyball where like someone is like spiking it up, someone's setting it, and then the other one is slamming it down. The motion controls on that one are a lot more like this. Like so moving your hands directly up is a set. Whacking, like just sort of throwing it up is spike, I think, or maybe it's forward. I don't quite remember.
It's bump, set, spike.
Right. Okay. So bumping is swinging it. So you swing the Joy-Con up. Setting it is pushing it up, which I know sounds similar, but they are a little bit different. And then spiking is swinging it up and then swinging it down. So swinging it up is when you jump up in the air and you stay in the air for quite a long time, and then you slam it down. You can also, whoever's at the front can also do the spike move whenever they want, in terms of they can also jump up and block the ball at the same time. So you can block a spike that way. That one's really fun. It's a bit more complicated. So the games are good. It's missing golf. Golf isn't super exciting. It'll come later. Whatever.
Yep.
the customization options are pretty limited. Like, you can't, if you want to use a me head, you can't then add accessories.
Oh.
You also can't. You also don't start off with any accessories, including pairs of glasses, which I thought was weird. I couldn't even add a pair of glasses to my weird fake Xbox Live avatar thing that they've got going on that isn't Nintendo Mii's. And like, what is good is there are like funny nicknames. So you can like, there's like a list of very long, like there's like you get 2 nicknames. So like I was grandpa, party grandpa.
Party grandpa.
Yeah, like one of my friends was like cat dog. I played with my housemates and one of my friends. So my barometer for these games is, can I have fun with this game while I am drinking too much wine? Yes, sort of. It's not nearly as immediately jump in as Wii Sports, which is a shame.
Okay.
And that's hard to follow because that is maybe one of the most like easily able to jump in games that have ever existed. You know, that game was played by literally everybody. You know, grandparents play that game.
Millions of people.
Yes, we've spoken about this at length in the past. That game was available to play by for people in retirement homes, right? You know, it was great for everybody.
It was also one of the first of its kind in a broadly available consumer perspective. Like,
yes,
that really means something. It means that some of those games that were a little par baked, a little soft on the inside, were still fun and enjoyable because it was a novel experience. But we've had 15 years of that now.
Sure, but like, you know, while boxing was like pretty shit, like as a game in terms of like you controlling anything, it was still really fun. Yeah. I will say Chambara in this is like, there is a level of strategy that you can deploy, which we started to build up as we played more and more, where it was like, you know, thinking about patterns that my opponent is using and trying to guess their pattern so I can block, because it's really hard because they're really fast, that sort of stuff. Similar to tennis as well, trying to hit it and then overriding your brain to not hit the ones that are about to go out, which we did a bunch, especially because we were drinking a lot.
No wonder they were going out.
Yeah. But there's maybe just a little bit too much friction for like everybody, you know, say you've got 7-8 people sitting around the TV chatting and stuff, and you just sort of pass the control back and forth. There's just maybe just a teensy bit too much going on in between the games. I don't mean in between the games there's too much happening. I mean, as in across the games, there's too much differentiation. Some of them require the use of, it's not just motion control. Some of them is like actually using the stick. And some of them is using the buttons to do certain things. And I feel like there were ways to get around that, right? I feel like there were ways they could have designed it around the motion controls. I know Joy-Con motion controls aren't the best, but they're certainly much better than the Wii, and that was still so much fun. There were ways to do that where it wasn't you relying on just pressing a button. As well as the tutorials that they have, because they give you the option of some of the games give you tutorials and some of them don't, which I thought was weird, considering some of them were like, oh, we were finding out mechanics halfway through our PlayStation. They are not very good tutorials. They give each player who has never played the game one of the tutorials. So if you start a match with four brand new players, you'll get the same tutorial 4 times. You can skip it, but it is still really weird. And there's just a little bit too much friction for it to be like a classic hit.
Interesting.
Which is a shame. The game looks quite good. When there's 4 players and there's 4 different screens going on, the frame rate drops for things in the background. For the most part, the game, I think, felt fine. I didn't notice frame drops in the actual game part of it, but certainly background characters drop down to like 6 to 7 frames per second, which is fine. It is what it is.
Totally.
It is set in the location of Spocko Square. I don't know what that is, but it sounds like a slur.
It sounds like someone misspelled sports.
Yeah. Or it's like when you want to be like awful to someone who's like a Star Trek fan, you call them a Spocko.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. I don't think it's worth like $60.
Okay, interesting. That was going to be my question.
Yeah, I think it's probably a good $45. If you can get it that cheap, then great.
Good luck because it's a Nintendo game.
Yeah, definitely, and like one that comes with a physical accessory. I do want to go back and play the football game to see what the leg strap thing is like, because as far as I can tell, one game requires the leg strap, which is really weird.
So I want to point out, I'm pretty sure it's one mode of one game for soccer. I'm pretty sure you can play
just
soccer.
Shootout.
It's just, the shootout. It's just the goal shooting. You can play
weird.
the main soccer mode without it.
Right.
In fact, I don't think you can play it with it.
Right. Okay. That's even weirder. I find it weird that badminton, chambara, and football are all only 1 to 2 players. I understand chambara is like, dueling with like foam swords above a pool. But like make a 4-player mode, right? Like make it fucking stupid, or do like 2-on-2.
Yeah.
Like you're making a party game. You shouldn't lock out half of your games to be only 1v1. If you've got 4 players or 5 players around a TV, like you're not going to want to really play those ones. The only reason we played those is because 2 of my housemates left to go get food, and so it's just me and my friend. So I don't know. I feel like, badminton, chambara, football, there was all a way you could have done even if it's dinky, a 4-player version of that.
Yeah.
Mario Party, if you play 2 players, there are 1v1 games in that, but like they don't ever like there's no maps which are only 1v1 or only like 2v2. It's
they always fill it with computers.
They are all 4v4 accessible.
Yeah, no, it's a good point. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder how well this game's going to do.
Yeah, like I think there is a decent market for it. If it drops to if it drops to about $60 over Christmas, I think plenty of people will pick it up. Because parents will be able to play it with kids and not feel like that they're playing a video game sort of thing. They're just doing an activity with their kids. Yeah. The music I need to point out as well, like not really a whole lot going on there. The style of it was sort of lacking a little bit, and look, Wii Sports is a classic. It's hard to compete, but like I sort of wanted something a bit more upbeat. Everything felt like it was set inside a shopping mall.
Yeah.
Give me some cool locations. Don't give me the university campus feeling that you have. Give me something a little bit more exciting. Throw some fucking Nintendo little pizzazz in there. Have different things. Fight Bowser.
Why would they do that, Jeremy? It's only in the name of the game.
Have Nintendo characters sitting in the background watching. That would be fun.
That would be fun. I like that. Yeah, I have no telling of how far this game is going to go. Like, it strikes me a lot as like a sort of a continuation of their brain training game that came out last year, and like 50 Clubhouse games, where it's that quick party online system that they've got, but like
so
it's all
I'm just
kind
remembering
really
that one
level.
of the Clubhouse games was Piano.
Oh yeah. I don't remember if that one had multiplayer.
Really quick, I need to point out that while I was playing the game, the location that it reminded me of the most was the fucking the abandoned shopping mall in the new Kirby game that came out. It reminded me so much of that. It was so bizarre.
The abandoned version when no one's turned on their Switch for 10 years.
Yeah.